Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry, to introduce Professor Dr. Sabu Thomas, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Director, School of Energy Materials, Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam, Kerala.
Good morning to one and all present here. I am highly honored and feel privileged to introduce a very special and most simple, humble, distinguished, towering personality and today's guest of honor, Professor Dr. Sabu Thomas, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam, Kerala. Welcome, sir. He is a professor of Polymer Science and Engineering, School of Chemical Sciences and Founder Director, International and Inter-University Center for Nanoscience and Nanotechnology, Mahatma Gandhi University. He graduated BSc Chemistry in the University of Kerala and BTech Engineering in the field of Polymer Science and Rubber Technology at the University of Cochin. He did his PhD at Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur under the topic Polymer Blend Thermoplastic Elastomers from PVC Copolyester EVA PP blends. He continued his 3 postdoctoral fellowships in polymer blends at Macromolecular Science and Engineering Research Center, Laval University, Quebec, Canada, and Catholic University, Leuven, Belgium. His research areas and outstanding contributions in research encompasses nanomaterials, polymer blends, fiber-filled polymer composites and polymer nanocomposites, aging and degradation, interpenetrating polymer systems, recyclability and reuse of waste plastics and rubbers, nanocomposite scaffolds for tissue engineering, polymer nanocomposites for electronic applications, water purification, energy storage, and many others. He has many times been a visiting professor, visiting fellow, and senior visiting professor in various laboratories and universities in France, Belgium, China, Germany, Slovenia, Malaysia, Spain, Korea, and so on. He has also landed his footsteps in industries, holding the position of Rubber Production Officer, Bata India Limited, West Bengal, and Technical Officer, Bayer India Limited, Bombay in the early 80s. He has a rich teaching experience over 35 years and more as a lecturer, reader, and professor. Added to his credit, he has held various administrative positions as Regional Director, Honorary Director, Director, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor in charge of Vice Chancellor, and now is the Honorable Vice Chancellor. He has also held various positions as Board of Studies member, Dean of Faculty, Member of Academic Council, Executive Council, professional and academic bodies. Dr. Sabu Thomas has been involved in the formulation of various academic programs like MS, MPhil and MTech programs in nanoscience and nanotechnology, integrated MS PhD program in nanoscience and nanotechnology, integrated MSc PhD program at the School of Chemical Sciences and MTech Polymer Science and Technology at School of Chemical Sciences. Not to our surprise, he has been an invited speaker more than 100 to various institutions and universities within India and across the world for national and international conferences and has also organized many international conferences. He is a member of various professional bodies like the American Chemical Society Rubber Division, Royal Society of Chemistry, Indian Membrane Society, Polymer Society of India, Society of Disordered Materials, Society of Polymer Technologies, University of Cochin, Mahatma Gandhi University Chemical Society. He is actively engaged in the People's Science movement for the popularization of science to villages and rural areas. He is the Director of Nanomedicine, Center for Biomaterials, Cellular and Molecular Theranostics, BIT Vellore. He is a Fellow of International Academy of Physical Sciences, Foreign Fellow of the European Academy of Sciences, and Fellow of New York Academy of Sciences, USA. He has received numerous awards. To highlight a few, Karali Lifetime Research Award 2021 by the Kerala Government, Best Faculty Research Award, Trilla Academian of the Year, and so many else. He is cited in the list of most productive researchers in India as 5th position, and list is listed in the most cited researchers in the material sciences and engineering by Elsevier. He is cited among the top 2% scientists in India by Stanford University professors. His contribution in research is enormous. His total number of publications is more than 1,000 including reviews, and total number of citations is more than 82,000. His H index is 130. He has produced more than 100 doctorates, both national and international, and 25 postdoctorates, and is supervising 8 PhD scholars and 2 postdocs. He has 4 patents granted and 11 patents filed. He has received many funded projects from DST, AICT, DPT, DRDO, UGC, ISRO, BURN, CSIR, and so on, and projects supported by industries for about rupees 30 crores in total. He has academic and research collaborations with various institutions and industries in India and abroad. He is an editor of nearly 158 books published in Elsevier, RSE, Springer, River, with a thrust in nanomaterials, nanocomposites, biopolymers, nanoscale processing, polymer nanocomposites, and reinforced composites, and the list goes on. He has also contributed for more than 100 book chapters. He is a reviewer for international refereed journals of ACS, RSE, Wiley, Elsevier, Springer, IOP Publishing, Sage Journals, MDPI Publisher. He is an academic referee for various universities and funding agencies in India and abroad. He is an editorial board member, editorial advisor board member in various national and international peer-reviewed journals. He is a senior editor of Advanced Applied Materials Sweden and a co-editor-in-chief for the international journal Functional Composites and Structures Korean Society of Composite Materials. He is the editor-of-chief Asian Journal of Nanoscience and Materials and chief editor Nanostructures and Nano-Objects Elsevier. He is a person who also cherishes the growth and achievements of his students and alumni. He has contributed his lifetime for the development of the society and social welfare. Dr. Sabu Thomas has a great academic and research association with Levido College for over 20 years, especially with the Department of Chemistry and Physics. He has many times been an invited speaker in various national seminars and conferences. He has also collaborated with the faculty in publishing scientific papers and book chapters. He is also a well-wisher of our college. We are very happy and proud to have such an eminent and exemplary personality amongst us today for this international conference on functional materials for sustainable energy and environment. None other than Professor Dr. Sabu Thomas will be apt to deliver the keynote address. I now invite you, Professor Dr. Sabu Thomas, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam, Kerala, to deliver the keynote address.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much for the kind words of introduction. I'm really excited to be with you today. This is my second visit to the college, and many thanks for the kind invitation. Without losing much of time, I'm going to start my presentation. The title of my talk is Circular Economy, New Opportunities to Develop Advanced Functional Materials. Can you all see the slide? No, disappeared. Just check it again. Yeah. The core of my presentation, dear friends, students, the core of my presentation is how we can make use of biomass, the waste, into advanced functional materials. That's the core of my talk today. Biomass, I talk about mostly cellulose, the cellulose that you get from the plant waste. I also talk about starch. I will also talk about the seafood waste, how we can transform them into advanced functional materials, because your topic is advanced functional materials and also environment. So I thought this topic could be of interest, because you generate all this, you derive all this from biomass. So that's the core of my talk, and I cooperate with many laboratories in and abroad on this topic, and I will also show my scholars, research scholars who worked on this topic on this subject. So I see a large number of students. How many of you are research scholars? Can you raise your hand? Let us do a show. Okay. Thank you. And how many of you are master students? Master. Great. Mostly master students. How about undergraduate students? BSc students? Good. It's a good mix of PhD students, master students and undergraduate students. Very good. PhD students, are you working in the area of biomass? Cellulose, anybody working on cellulose? Nanocellulose? No. Oh, very good. Thank you. Thank you. So the essence of my talk is how you develop advanced functional materials from biomass. First slide, I'm going to show you a very important slide, American Chemical Society statistics. American Chemical Society says 1.6 billion tons of agro-waste materials are being produced all over the world. And you can see a very nice picture of agricultural waste. Dear friends, these agro-waste are not really transformed into useful materials. Agro-waste could be agricultural waste, it could be from the waste of fish industry, and my talk is centered around how we can transform them into advanced materials. If you look at agricultural waste, we have sugarcane bagasse, we have rice bran, wheat bran, corn cob, wood flour, variety of agricultural waste we have. And I'm going to show you a very important slide. This is very important. You see the worldwide production of agricultural mass. Wood flour is number one, followed by bamboo, cotton lint, jute, kenaf, variety of fibers. You can see the worldwide production and the origin. It could be from stem, it could be from leaf, it could be from fruit. Look at this slide. The importance of plant fiber. They're environmentally friendly materials. And the cost is less. They are renewable resources, non-abrasive to machineries. They do not cause any health hazards. Their specific properties are very good because the density is low. If you divide the property by density, they can beat with the glass fibers. Sustainable resources, underutilized. There are several positive factors for natural fibers. Here we have an interesting slide. You can extract from the stem. A good example is jute or flax. From the leaf, good example is pineapple leaf. Seed of fruit, good example is square. We extract from the seed. Glass fibers. So you can have beautiful classification. And I'm showing some nice pictures for my students. Banana, coconut. I'm sure you have plenty of fibers in Tamil Nadu and Kerala. In Kerala, we have a lot of oil palm coming up. Bamboo. Jute is northeastern part of India. Calcutta, Bihar, a lot of jute. Kerala is a land of coconut trees like Tamil Nadu. Let's now look at the price. You see, taking cotton's index of 100, you will find that these materials are relatively cheaper as compared to glass fibers. You can see cotton is we give an index of 100. You can see coir, wood fiber, straw. They are very inexpensive. I have a slide here which indicates the mechanical strength of this material. If you look at the mechanical strength of this material, they are pretty good. I have shown the Young's modulus, the strength, elongation break, how much you can stretch it. Look at the density. Density varies from 1.1 to 1.6, much lighter than glass fibers. Therefore, the specific properties, very good. Property divided by density, because density is very low. There are a lot of chemistry students. How about the chemistry? Essentially cellulosic material. You can see the structure of cellulose. This is a fascinating molecule for a chemist. You can do a lot of chemical modification on this backbone. You can see lignin, hemicellulose. We are active on lignin. We make use of lignin as a matrix. Now we have another important slide. Dear students, we can work in different length scale. Look at this is you can work in macro length scale. This is a macro fiber. Inside the macro fiber, you can see hundreds of microfibers. Inside the microfibers, we have hundreds of nanofibers. So advantage is you can work in different length scale. Macro length scale, micro length scale, or nano length scale. In this lecture, dear friends, I am going to talk about this nanoscale material. How we can extract nanoscale material from plant fiber. That's the core of my talk today. And why this nanocellulose is so important? Extracting nano from plant fibers. High water holding capacity. I am now getting a new contract with a company. They are making, baby napkins using nanocellulose because hydrogel we are going to manufacture. They are highly crystalline, high strength, low density, high specific strength and modulus. Lots of advantages. I would say this is the most strategic platform for sustainable development. This conference has a word called sustainability. That's why I thought of talking about cellulose today. This is a wonderful sustainable material. How do you make them? The manufacturing technologies are now matured. You can do acid hydrolysis. You wash the material with an acid. Acid can remove all the amorphous part, lignin, hemicellulose, waxes. You can do steam explosion process. You can do high pressure homogenization process. You can do grinding invented by the Japanese colleagues. Cryo crushing, you decrease the temperature and make the fiber brittle and you go for crushing process. High intensity ultrasonication. So all these techniques have been matured now. Different laboratories make use of different techniques. High pressure homogenization, those who are interested can have a good reading. Super grinding invented by a Japanese colleague, Iwamato. It's a very exciting paper in biomacromolecules, HIUS on super grinding. Cryo crushing, you make the sample brittle by using liquid nitrogen and you crush it. High intensity ultrasonication process, you apply high mechanical force so that the fiber could be fibrillated. This is what is high intensity ultrasonication process. Steam explosion process, we do a lot of steam explosion. You can see the natural fiber here. Chop them into smaller lengths and put in autoclave under high pressure and temperature. Temperature is 150 degrees Celsius, pressure is 137 Pascal. Then you suddenly release the pressure. Then you have an explosion taking place. And you remove lignin hemicellulose by chemical hydrolysis. This is the way we operate for the steam explosion process. You see the totality of the process. I can show you what we do in my laboratory. My PhD students collect agro waste, go for a alkali treatment and bleaching. You remove the lignin, you get a slurry. You go for a mild acid hydrolysis or a strong acid hydrolysis, depending upon what you really need. If you are interested in long nanofibers, we go for a mild acid hydrolysis. If you are interested in short nanocrystals of cellulose, we go for a strong acid hydrolysis. And you see finally what we get. This is under electron microscopy, high resolution electron microscopy. We get beautiful nanofibers. And dear students, if you use a strong acid, so this is long nanofibers where you have amorphous and crystalline entities there. You can see this is the disordered region. If you use a strong acid, you get short nanocrystals because strong acid can destroy all the amorphous part. So you have two options. You can make long nanofibers. The length could be several micrometers, or short nanocrystal. Length could be around 150 or 200 nanometers. The diameter is always in the range of 20 to 50 nanometers. So you can see the nanocrystals made by Mohammedan group. You see the nanocrystals made by Mohammedan group from wood flower. Look at these nanocrystals, short nanocrystals. Now I will show you the plan we have in the campus. You see, this is the raw fiber we collect. We chop them into smaller length, put into a steam explosion unit, high pressure and temperature, go for a bleaching, acid hydrolysis, then high pressure homogenization process. We repeat the process till we get nano. And then finally you can see our nanofibers under electron microscopy. You see some of the nice nano we have made previously. A co-worker of mine, this is the work of Eldo. He is right now in the US. You see, you can see nano crystals made by Eldo from pineapple stem by steam explosion process. Nano made from wood flower. My co-worker, he is now in Russia as an assistant professor. Nano made from pineapple leaf. Again, my co-worker, he is now in Israel. So now, let me also show you another important. There are a lot of chemists here. After making nanocellulose, dear friends, you can do a lot of chemistry on the surface. You can do esterification reaction. You see, this is nanocellulose. You can do esterification reaction. You can do tempo-mediated oxidation process. And you can see OH could be converted into COH. You can introduce fluorescent labels on the surface of nanocellulose for sensing. You can graft polymers on the surface of nanocellulose. You can do cellulation reaction. Now we work with Apollo tires using nanocellulose for automotive tires. We do a lot of cellulation reaction. You can do cationication reaction. I mentioned only a few reactions. So several reactions could be performed on the surface of nanocellulose to engineer the right surface for the manufacturing of advanced functional materials. I will show you some slides on water purification. See, water is a very important material. Since we talk about environment, I thought of showing some of my work on water. You see, our interest was to make efficient filters for water purification. Look at the commercial filters. Commercial filters have a bilayer construction. The bottom part is a non-woven microfibrous support, over which we have a PVDF membrane. You see, this is the commercial filters. And we found that commercial filters are not very efficient. So my PhD student Deepu and I thought of giving a coating of nanocellulose on the surface of commercial filters, a hydrophilic coating of the nanocellulose. I will show you a couple of our work. The first work we have done with Gopakumar, he is right now as a postdoc. What we did is, we decided to remove crystal violet dye. From a corporate in the company, you can see a textile company pumping out water. The water color is violet because of crystal violet. So what we did is, we did a small chemistry on the surface of nanocellulose. We made nanocellulose from banana stem, and we reacted nanocellulose Meldrum's acid, a very simple reaction, and introduced CO minus group on the surface of nanocellulose. Very simple reaction we performed in the laboratory. And this is again, we had a collaborator from Brazil, Pazipini from Brazil, a very brilliant organic chemist. And see what we have done. See, this is the removal of crystal violets from the water we receive from the company. Look at, if you use a commercial filter, the absorption capacity of the dye is something like this as a function of time. Commercial filter. If you coat the commercial filter with nanocellulose, look at, the absorption capacity is increased. And if you coat with chemically modified nanocellulose with the CO minus group, look at, the absorption capacity is something like 4 milligram per gram. So we could really make the commercial filters pretty efficient. And you might see what is the reason for that. See, this is the chemically modified nanocellulose. This is a structure of crystal violets. Crystal violet can interact with the nanocellulose by electrostatic interaction. You see the CO minus and the N plus. And because of the electrostatic interaction, you can see all the crystal violet molecules have been absorbed on the surface of the chemically modified nanocellulose. And those who are interested can look at our publication, the ACS. Now, let me show you another interesting slide. Probably you know that water is increasingly contaminated with suspended particles, any suspended particle. So what we did is, Dibu and my PhD student Dibu and I, with the cooperation with the Pasicuni in Brazil, we decided to look at the suspended particle in water. We have not done any chemistry, we just gave a coating of the commercial filter with nanocellulose. Surprisingly, all the suspended particles were stopped at the surface of the top surface of filter. You can see these are all iron oxide particles. We made a model system in my laboratory, water filled with iron oxide. The particle size was 50 to 100 nanometer. You can see all the suspended particles were stopped at the top surface of the filter. Simply by such a solution, the whole size was only something like 8 nanometer size once you coat the surface of the filter. And you can see all these suspended particles were stopped at the top surface of the filter. And you see the bottom part of the filter, this is PVDF. So using this filter, dear friends, we could filter out all the suspended particles in water. Now I'm going to show you a very interesting work of Finnish group. The Finland group is very active in purifying seawater. Probably you must be reading in the newspaper. The seawater is increasingly contaminated because of the sinking of ship in sea or leakage of the oil from the ship. This is very harmful for the living organisms in the sea. So the Finnish group, we know what they did. They made aerogel. Look at the aerogel made by the Finland group. Nanocellulose and water, you go for a freeze drying, you can do aerogel. You can do in your laboratory, manufacturing aerogel. Some 2% of nanocellulose in water, go for a freeze drying process, you can make beautiful aerogel. The interesting part the Finland group did is, they made the surface of nanocellulose hydrophobic by giving a coating of TiO2. Look at the TiO2 coating on the surface of nanocellulose. So they made the surface of nanocellulose hydrophobic. Once you make the surface of nanocellulose hydrophobic, you see, this is the oil. The oil is absorbed by the nanocellulose because oil is hydrophobic. This nanocellulose will not take water because surface is hydrophobic. Water cannot enter. And this whole aerogel swells by taking out the oil. And you can do two things. Either you can burn it once the swelling is complete, or you can squeeze out the oil and you can recycle. So this is the way the seawater is being purified by the Finnish group, by making aerogel, and the aerogel has to be transformed into a hydrophobic material. Now let me show you another important slide. You can remove heavy metals from water, chromium, zinc. You can see the chromium absorption as a function of this is the equilibrium absorption of chromium, and you can see the chromium absorption is going to be close to 100. You can remove nickel, cadmium, or lead using nanocellulose filters. And probably you all know that our great grandfathers used to use rice straw fiber for purifying water. You can see the rice straw fiber, which is macroscopic in dimension, and they can act as good filters. But you see the removal efficiency is close to 50%. But if you go to nano length scale, Reddy's nano length scale, look at this. The removal efficiency is more than 90%. That is the beauty of nano length scale. You increase the surface area remarkably. Dear friends, we can remove bacteria and viruses. Bacteria and viruses could be removed using nanocellulose. You see, if you want to remove viruses, what you have to do is you have to do a chemistry, because viruses are smaller in size, less than 100 nanometer size. So if you want to remove viruses, you have to treat nanocellulose with polyvinylamine. See, this is polyvinylamine. If you react with polyvinylamine, you introduce massive amino group on the surface of nanocellulose. Probably you all know that viruses have a protein envelope that's got negative charge. So once you introduce amino group on the surface of nanocellulose, there could be electrostatic interaction between the amino group and virus. And that could be a good way of removing viruses. To remove bacteria is much easier because the bacteria size is quite bigger, 1000 nanometer size. By size exclusion you can remove bacteria. So bacteria and viruses could be removed by using nanoscale filters. Nanocellulose is a very exciting material for scaffold. You can see a man suffering from high degree of burns on his face, and his face is completely covered with nanocellulose gel, which is extremely porous. Once you cover the skin, the burnt skin with nanocellulose, the tissue regeneration is quite rapid. You can also introduce antibiotic into this platform. There could be sustained release of antibiotic. Let me show you another interesting slide. This we have done with Brazil. My Brazilian collaborator is very active in making polyurethane, medical grade polyurethane. Look at this medical grade polyurethane. The strength is 17.5, modulus is 37.5. And when he visited my university, he was from Sao Paulo University, we thought of using modulus is only 37.5. So what we did is, we introduced nanocellulose from pineapple leaf fiber, 2%, 5%, up to 10%. You see, when you put 5% of nanocellulose, 37.5 become 992.4. A remarkable increase in modulus. And my colleague from Sao Paulo University was very happy. And we made a series of nanocomposites of PU and nanocellulose from pineapple leaf fiber. So my PhD students went to Brazil, and we had a long cooperation with Brazil, about 5 years cooperation, India-Brazil collaborative program. And you see what we have made. We have made nanocellulose, polyurethane, prosthetic heart valve. My colleague in Brazil had a long cooperation with the Brazilian funding agency, and we worked together. And he also worked with Brazilian hospital, Brazilian surgeons, and he has developed beautiful nanocellulose, polyurethane, prosthetic heart valve. Now let me show you another interesting aspect. Nanocellulose is a very good platform for sustained release of antibiotic. You see, Sebastian Morris from Spain, he made beautiful aerogel. This is actually bacterial nanocellulose, not nanocellulose from pineapple, because bacterial nanocellulose is most pure form. Cellulose made from bacteria. And you can see the aerogel made by Professor Sebastian. And then he introduced antibiotic into this platform. And look at the cumulative release of antibiotic. So the message I wanted to give my young PhD students is, this is an excellent platform for sustained release of antibiotic using nanocellulose. Let me show you another interesting slide. My Chinese colleague, Professor Lu, and co-workers, you know what they did? They made hybrid configuration of nanocellulose and collagen. They combined nanocellulose and collagen. And Professor Lu has made beautiful aerogel. And you can see the porosity of aerogel, 95% of porosity. And the water holding capacity, look at the water holding capacity. The water holding capacity of this aerogel is, something like 4,000%. You know what Professor Lu, he started a company in China. And he projected it as a wound dressing material for patients, because it can absorb all the pus and water from the wound. And he said this is a good platform for introducing antibiotic. Nanocellulose is again a very good material for reinforcing commercial filters. I can show you a commercial filter. This is a commercial filter. This commercial filter made of polyacrylonitrile. Look at this. Weak mechanics. If you coat the commercial filter with nanocellulose, this is one side coating, this is two side coating. You can see the strength goes up. Strength becomes 12.5 or 13 megapascal. So commercial electrospan membranes could be made stronger by coating with nanocellulose. Let me also show you another interesting work we have done with the US University and many institutes in India. We made a triple layer mask. You see, the outer layer is made of polyester coated with an anti-adhesive. And this anti-adhesive cellulose, which is positively charged. And the innermost layer is made of pure cotton. This is the construction of the mask. Several universities were involved. You see, when coronavirus comes, the outer layer is hydrophobic. It can repel the coronavirus. And the innermost layer, if at all some coronavirus is getting into the mask, the innermost layer has a coating of nanocellulose, which is positively charged. And you all know that virus has got a protein envelope and negatively charged. So this middle layer can deactivate the virus because by electrostatic interaction. And innermost layer is made of cotton, which is in close proximity with your mouth. And you see our mask design, the outer layer, the middle layer, inner layer. And my colleague from the US said he is going to make it by 3D printing process. We are also into sensors. Nanocellulose makes sensors. Maybe I will show you one slide. You see, this is nanocrystals made from pineapple leaf fiber. And this is carbon nanotube. You can combine them together using natural rubber latex. You see, you mix with the natural rubber latex, you introduce CNT and nanocellulose, you go for a mixing process, you go for coagulation, go for hot pressing, and finally what you get is 3D hierarchical conductive path. Very simple manufacturing process. You might ask, what is the advantage of this? If you put carbon nanotube into natural rubber, only natural rubber, no CNT. Only CNT. Look at this is CNT. CNT natural rubber. You get a percolation beyond 5.5 or 6 volume percent of CNT. Look at this. This is a percolation process. Natural rubber and CNT. Natural rubber is very difficult to be dispersed in. CNT is very difficult to be dispersed in natural rubber. But dear friends, if you combine CNT and nanocellulose together, you see the percolation shifted to very lower concentration. You get a percolation at 1.5 volume percent of CNT. So once you combine nanocellulose and carbon nanotube together, you can make beautiful conductive network in natural rubber. And this is a beautiful strain sensor. You can see the strain sensing action of this. You see, you stretch it. You stretch this natural rubber beyond a certain strain level, you have an increase of resistance. Because when you stretch the rubber, the CNT network is destroyed. So we found that combining CNT and nanocellulose together, we can make beautiful sensors. And these sensors are very interesting for detecting strain. Similarly, we can also make nanocellulose and graphene oxide. You combine them, mix with the natural rubber latex, you mix them, you coagulate them, and you see you make a beautiful network of graphene oxide, reduced graphene oxide in natural rubber. And this is again a beautiful sensor. This is only reduced graphene oxide in natural rubber. You see a percolation process. The black is reduced graphene oxide and nanocellulose in natural rubber. You can see the percolation shifted to lower concentration of reduced graphene oxide. So message is, you can mix nanocellulose with several conductive fillets. It could be CNT, it could be RGO, and you can make beautiful sensors. Let me now show you a very interesting work of Professor Wang. This could be very important for people who work on batteries. You know what Professor Wang did? Professor Wang and colleagues, they made nanocellulose aerogel. Look at this, the nanocellulose aerogel made by Professor Wang. And then Professor Wang went for a pyrolysis and he made carbon aerogel. And carbon aerogel, you know what he did? Carbon aerogel is extremely porous, and he found that this is a wonderful anode material for lithium-ion batteries. So you make nanocellulose aerogel, go for a pyrolysis, and you make beautiful porous carbon aerogel. This carbon aerogel is extremely porous, therefore electrolyte anode interaction is very strong. So this is very useful for battery applications. Let me show you another work. My co-worker and I, with a Brazilian corporation, we made nanocellulose from pineapple leaf. And then we introduced anilide into it. And then we went for in situ polymerization of anilide. In nanocellulose, you can see this. We made a beautiful network. Okay? Very simple manufacturing process. And you can see this is neat nanocellulose, and this is Aniline polymerized on the surface of nanocellulose. So we made a conductive network of aniline on the surface of nanocellulose. You can see the sample we have made. Very lightweight and conductive. And you might ask, what is the use of this material? This is a beautiful electromagnetic shielding material. We have a couple of patents on this. So we made several EMI shieldings using nanocellulose. Several types of protocols we have introduced. So this is one of the protocols we have introduced. Make nanocellulose, polymerize aniline on the surface of nanocellulose, and it's a wonderful shielding material. We could achieve up to 25 dB shielding. And this could be useful for your mobile phones and many electronic instruments. Let me now show you a few slides on chitin materials. Chitin is the second largest biopolymer on the crust of the earth. So my PhD students collect the shells of prawns and crabs from the Kottayam fish market. And then what we do is, this is a structure of chitin. Structure is very similar to cellulose, but we have a fascinating NSCO-CH3 group. That's the beauty of chitin. So we are able to make nanocrystals of chitin. Look at the nanocrystals we have made from prawn shell. This is the nanofiber of chitin. So we are able to make this in our laboratory. I will show you, maybe with the lack of time, maybe I will show you one slide. What's the application of these nanochitin? There are several applications. See, this is the structure of nanochitin. In this structure, if you do a small chemistry, reacting nanochitin with bromohexadecane, the idea is introduce alkyl group on the surface of nanochitin. You can control the chemistry very easily. You can control the length of the alkyl group. And if you do that, you can make super hydrophobic surfaces. Look at this is neat nanochitin. The contact angle is 86.5. As you put large number of alkyl group on the surface of nanochitin, you will see that nanochitin becomes increasingly hydrophobic. At certain point of chemistry, you get super hydrophobic surfaces with a contact angle of 158.2. A very simple reaction. And you might ask, what's the use of this material? Dear student, this is an excellent additive for oil. Oils are hydrophobic. Controlling the viscosity of oil, nanochitin is extensively used. Hydrophobic nanochitin. Let me show you another interesting example. A PhD student of mine was in Europe. He got a European fellowship to spend some time in Slovenia. And my Slovenian counterpart was interested to remove indigo carmine dye from water. She had a project. And she has been using PVDF, electrospun PVDF as a membrane. When she came to my laboratory, we formulated an India-Slovenian joint project supported by the European Union. You know what we did? We decided to make hybrid structures of PVDF and nanochitin. Because we were making nanochitin in my laboratory, so we decided to make hybrid configuration by electrospinning. So we introduced nanochitin into PVDF, we went for electrospinning, and you see, if you use only PVDF, the suppress efficiency of indigo carmine was 22.3%. But if you combine with nanochitin, look at the suppress efficiency, 88.9%. And we have a patent with my Slovenian counterpart, and we also publish a series of papers by combining nanochitin PVDF for the removal of indigo carmine dye. The last part of my lecture is focusing on starch. And dear students, we are not touching the food sector. My PhD students collect the waste starch during harvest time. Waste potato, waste rice, waste tapioca, waste wheat. Kerala has a lot of tapioca. Waste tapioca we collect. Here also we do an acid washing in my laboratory. Simple acid washing, remove all the amorphous part. Once you do that, you see, look at this. You get beautiful nanocrystals of starch. And nanocrystals of starch has a lot of application. I will show you one slide. You see, this is neat natural rubber. Neat natural rubber. Kerala has a lot of natural rubber. You see, this is neat natural rubber. NR 100 means 100% natural rubber. Sustained behavior. You put 5, 10, 15 up to 20% of nanocrystals from starch, waste starch. Look at Natural rubber is transformed into a high modulus material. The modulus becomes something like 14, 15 times higher than the neat material. So natural rubber could be transformed into a high modulus material. You can see nanocrystals. These are all nanocrystals particles form a network in natural rubber. And natural rubber molecule is immobilized by this network. So you get very high level of reinforcement. My concluding remarks are, don't throw away the waste. You can make fascinating material waste. The agricultural wastes are very important. Collect them, process them, and transform them into advanced functional materials. You can use them for water purification. You can use them for electronic application, energy storage. You can use them for making platform for drug delivery. Variety of applications. You can reinforcing polymers. So I'm posing a question to my young students: can we become a zero waste planet? The answer is yes. Dear friends, we have to intelligently utilize all our waste, transform them into advanced functional materials. I would like to thank all my PhD students working on the natural fibers, government funding. Particularly, I'm thankful to Professor Sina Rao for generous funding for the nano laboratory. We could buy all the transmission electron microscope, atomic microscope, X-ray, and all from nanomission grants. I'm extremely thankful to him. And you can see we could tap funding from all the funding areas in the country. PIX France, we had a big program with France, India, Sweden. Still we are running India-Sweden program. India, Slovenia, Delaware Academy of Sciences, India, Brazil, DuPont supported us, General Cable, United States, Alpha Street, Czech. So we work with many companies, and now we are entering into a cooperation with the MRF and Apollo tires, using nanocellulose for reinforcing tires. And I would like to thank all my international collaborators. This is the nanostructures and nano objects, my group in the campus, our nano group. We have two conferences coming up. One is the outcome-based education. It's more a pedagogical conference on February 10, 11, and 12. We have a member-assisted water purification process with a Swedish corporation on March 10, 11, and 12. You are most welcome to our conferences. We are also active in publishing, into editing and writing books. We are very active. We can see a beautiful book on nano-scale material for water purification by Elsevier. Yeah, this is our current score of our nanostructures and nano objects. So thank you for patient hearing. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir, for such a thought-provoking session on new opportunity in sustainable nanomaterials and polymer bio-nanocomposites, and summarizing the preparation and applications of nanocellulose and nanochitin and starch for the manufacture of various advanced functional materials. Now, the stage is open for question and discussions.
Thank you, sir, for your excellent presentation. You motivated not only the students, even the faculty members in the auditorium. My doubt is that you have chosen only the pineapple leaf for cellulose extraction. So, why don't you opt the other leaves? Why?
Very interesting question. You see, my research group is working on coir fiber, pineapple. Because pineapple, we have lots of resources in Kerala. Coir, the amount of cellulose is very low. Coir has more lignin. And pineapple and banana are the major, harvesting material in Kerala. We get a lot of pineapple leaf and banana stem. So we have a lot of interest to work on other fibers, especially oil palm. Coir, we have worked on a limited scale. Any fibers we can take. We can cooperate with, if you have some fibers common in Tamil Nadu, we are very happy to work with you. Any fibers you can approach this technique.
If suppose I choose the other leaf and extract the cellulose.
Yes.
So if you mix the carbon nanotubes, can I expect the similar properties or
definitely? Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. You see, the advantage if you hybridize carbon nanotube with nanocrystal cellulose, carbon nanotube CND interaction will be destroyed. That's why we get a very good dispersion of carbon nanotube in rubber. If you put carbon nanotube in rubber, it's very difficult to disperse unless you add a surface active agents. So this is one way of making beautiful dispersion of carbon nanotube. Mix carbon nanotube and nanocrystals of cellulose.
Okay.
You can very well disperse carbon nanotube. You attain a network at low population threshold. Any nanocrystals will function. No doubt in that.
Thank you very much.
With CNT, same thing can also work with the reduced graphene oxide.
Okay.
Definitely.
Thank you very much for your motivation presentation.
Thank you, Professor Thomas. It's a wonderful presentation. I'm really delighted. I have a question. In Delhi NCR during this winter period, we are having a burning in Haryana and Punjab. A lot of rice paddy field burning, and this burning has causing a lot of air pollution.
Yes.
And this pollution is of course coming along with the slow wind over North India, and in fact entire Indo-Gangetic plain is suffered.
Yes.
And we are having a big problem. So can we find out some way like for these rice paddy residue to convert into some kind of material?
That's a very important question. You see, I wrote to Department of Agriculture. Why not, collect all this waste from the farming community? Because as you rightly indicated, after harvest, they actually burn it. And it is very hazardous for the community because our air is getting polluted very much. So I wrote to Department of Agriculture, why not collect all the waste and start some extraction unit close to Delhi or some places, and we can have beautiful lignin, nanocellulose, hemicellulose, and Department of Agriculture wrote to me, asked me to submit a big proposal, and they have shown a lot of interest. This is a very important point to raise because all our farmers, we have to educate them. Unless we come with a solution, the farmers will continue to do that. So we have to collect all the waste during harvest time. Go to the farmers, collect all the waste, and then set up some manufacturing station. It's a very important question. I wrote to Department of Agriculture.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's really great.
Writing a big proposal with them.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for the very informative session. We are very much encouraged to do in nanocellulose. As a research scholar, I have one small doubt. Since you are doing research in eco-friendly, we are using pineapple and core peat but also we are using carbon wall nanotube. As much my knowledge, carbon wall nanotube is highly expensive. Is there any lower expensive carbon wall nanotube is available in the market, or we are using expensive carbon wall nanotubes with the eco-friendly materials?
My suggestion is you buy graphites, quite cheap. So my PhD students, we stopped working with the CNT now. We focus mainly on graphene. We buy graphite, and my PhD students make graphene oxide, reduced graphene oxide in my laboratory. That's very simple. You do simple chemistry also, very simple chemistry. You buy graphite, make graphene oxide, very fascinating material. So I recommend you to use graphite and do the simple conversion into reduced graphene oxide.
Both have
very exciting work.
Both have similar properties.
Yes, very good similar properties. We got very fascinating properties with reduced graphene oxide.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Very simple to make in your laboratory.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, India is a third world country. So what about the cost effectiveness for purification of water? Even desalination is not possible because of costliness.
Yeah.
So what about the cost effectiveness in the economy?
My suggestion is desalination using. Now, if you look at desalination process, people basically use reverse osmosis. If you go to Israel has the biggest reverse osmosis plant in the world now. Reverse osmosis is highly energy intensive. So Israel now actually using solar energy for running their reverse osmosis plant. If you can run reverse osmosis with solar energy, that's a good way. because you can reduce the carbon footprint. That is one way of doing it. Second way is use nanocellulose. Use our renewable resources. If you use nanocellulose-based membrane, see, we can remove everything from body. We can remove bacteria, we can remove virus, we can remove heavy metals. So my strategy is to make different layers of nanocellulose. One short process where you can remove bacteria, we can remove virus, we can remove heavy metals, we can remove dyes. We are also working on removing antibiotics. Now antibiotic is a big issue. All our wastewater have antibiotics. So my suggestion, my recommendation to the government of India, we are actually working with the Department of Water Resources. Make a filter using nanocellulose, one shot process, remove everything. That is a more sustainable process. Reverse osmosis, as you indicated rightly, energy intensive process. If you can run reverse osmosis with the solar power, that could be more interesting. So now I am also writing a proposal on reverse osmosis run by solar powered system. That's my answer. Thank you.
Hello Professor, that was an interesting talk. So my question is on batteries, especially with sodium ion batteries coming up. We have SBR, CMCs as binder candidates,
yes,
and then hard carbon as the anode candidate.
Correct.
With all these, what do you think is the prospect for Kerala in the next 20 years with all these abundant resources available? Do you think Kerala will become pioneers in sodium ion batteries?
I think so. You see, we can make several carbonaceous material from our bioresources. You must have seen Chinese colleague has done. He made aerogel of nanocellulose, went for a pyrolysis, and we made beautiful porous carbon. And when you use porous carbon, the electrolyte anode interaction is very strong. I think we should think of strategies making use of all our bioresources to make anode material, electrolyte material. I think there is a good possibility to make green materials, green batteries, making use of all these biomass.
Has Paradion ever approached Kerala in this regard?
Pardon?
Paradion is the company that
Yes.
Did they approach us in any way?
Not yet. I will be interested. It will be very interesting if we can work together.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Mahatma Gandhi University, you proved that you are a real Mahatma by practicing the real simplicity. Yes, you have practiced the real simplicity, and we find a great scholar in you, a real educator. Girls, I'd like to share here. In earlier days, they used to say the scholars are very simple, or arivali, or gnani. Let me talk in Tamil so that I can reach my audience a lot. So on behalf of our college, we have seen such a simple person who is highly knowledge, very productive. We are seeing all that, of course, being a librarian and appreciating the librarianship. I don't believe in all head index, eye index, etc. because a lot of false things are there. But he is proved and he is contributing to the society a lot. That we can visualize. But I appreciate, and all my humbleness, I'd like to thank that Mahatma practice. Being a Mahatma Gandhi Vice Chancellor, he practiced Mahatma qualities. Let's all stand up and give him a...
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for making us to see a simple person.
Thank you. Welcome you all to my campus. Maybe Dr. Nimma can take all the faculty and students to our campus. Let us work together. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. Nimma Elizabeth, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Physics, Lady Dock College,